Part 1. The Summons. The summons had been sent every decade, shimmering silver capsules drifting across the stars until they reached Sol. Each bore the seal of the Council of Galactic Unity, a ring of 12 golden sigils representing the oldest and most powerful species in the Orion Arm. And every time, Earth ignored them. The first silence was dismissed as arrogance, the second as isolationism. By the 3rd century, human became a curse whispered in diplomatic chambers, a ghost species, primitive and prideful, unworthy of the galactic stage. No one had seen a Terran in nearly 100 years. Some said they destroyed themselves. Others believed they'd regressed into savagery, too ashamed to show their faces among the stars. Either way, the Council moved on without them, writing laws, forming alliances, and reshaping the galaxy under their banner. Until the wars began. The Zelf Dominion came like a plague from the Dark Rim, devouring worlds and burning fleets. The proudest empires of the Council fell in weeks. Their fleets, forged for ceremony and deterrence, shattered under the Zelf swarm tactics. Dozens of species screamed for help. None came. Desperate, the Council turned to the one name they had once spat with contempt: humanity. They sent another capsule, this time not a demand, but a plea. To the Terran Federation, if you yet exist, the galaxy burns. The Zelf cannot be reasoned with. We ask for aid. Weeks passed, then months. No response. Until on the 3rd month, a faint distortion appeared in Archon Prime's orbit. At first, sensors read it as static, then as gravitational interference. And then, as the static cleared, a shadow emerged, a silhouette so vast it eclipsed the morning sun. The first Terran vessel seen in centuries. Black as obsidian, angular and bristling with energy, it slid silently from the void like a predator from deep water. Then another, and another. Dozens, hundreds, a fleet that filled the heavens until the very stars seemed to retreat before them. The Council's communication grid erupted in panic. "Unidentified vessels, you are entering restricted..." "This is Admiral Marcus Varelian of the Terran Federation. You called. We are answering." On the surface of Archon Prime, billions looked skyward as the fleet formed in perfect silence, precise, cold, and magnificent. Each ship bore the emblem of Earth, a blue sphere surrounded by a ring of burning wings. The alien delegates stood frozen before the planetary defense monitors, hearts pounding as realization dawned. Humanity hadn't vanished. They had evolved. They had prepared. And now they had come, not to beg, not to negotiate, but to decide the fate of the galaxy. The Council chamber on Archon Prime had never been so silent. The vaulted glass dome looked out upon a sky filled with shadows. Terran warships, hundreds of them, blotting out the sun. Their hulls gleamed like liquid obsidian, etched with blue light and angular runes that pulsed in rhythmic unison. Around the chamber's circular dais, the 12 Council species sat in disbelief. Some trembled, others whispered in fear. None dared to speak aloud what every heart already knew: humanity had returned. Then the air shimmered. A holographic projection filled the center of the chamber. Tall, human, wearing the black and silver uniform of a Terran fleet admiral. His eyes were pale gray, unblinking, and the faint scars across his face marked him as a man forged in war. "Council of Galactic Unity," he said, his voice deep, measured, and cold as space. "You've been calling for a century. Consider this your answer." The delegates erupted in chaos. "You defy council protocol," shouted a reptilian Cathar general. "This is an act of aggression," hissed another. "Withdraw your fleet immediately, or—" Marcus raised a hand. The noise died instantly, as if the air itself obeyed him. "You will not threaten me," he said. "You lost that right when you turned your backs on Earth." A murmur spread through the chamber. The council chancellor, an aging silver-skinned being whose voice trembled like glass, tried to regain control. "Admiral Varelian, the council's decisions were made in a different era. Humanity refused cooperation." "Cooperation?" Marcus's tone sharpened. "You mean servitude. You sent your envoys with ultimatums, not invitations. You demanded we disarm, surrender sovereignty, and accept your laws while Earth was still bleeding from her own wars. When we refused, you called us dangerous. When we asked for aid, you turned away." The holographic projection stepped forward, his presence filling the room with silent authority. "And now, when your fleets burn and your enemies devour your worlds, now you remember us?" The chancellor bowed his head. "Admiral, the Zelf-Dominion will destroy us all if we do not unite. Whatever our past, we must—" Marcus's voice softened, but the steel beneath it never faded. "You want unity? Then understand this. Humanity does not kneel. We will fight the Zelf, but not as your subjects. We stand as equals, or not at all." A long pause followed. Every delegate stared at him, weighing his words, realizing that the choice before them was not diplomacy, but survival. Then Marcus turned his gaze beyond them, to the stars. "The Zelf are already in your system. Their vanguard crossed the heliopause hours ago. If you wish to live through this day—" He raised a gloved hand, and from orbit, thousands of Terran warships shifted into perfect formation. Energy shields flared like halos, weapons hummed to life. "If you wish to live through this day, stand behind us and watch how humanity answers war." The void above Archon Prime boiled with motion. From the rift beyond the system's edge, the Zelf Dominion poured through. Black, insectoid vessels, all jagged spines and burning cores. They moved like a swarm, millions strong, devouring light as they advanced. The Council's remaining fleets, once proud, now battered, broke formation immediately. Panic bled through the comm channels. "They're too many! Shields are failing! Pull back! We can't—" Then a single voice cut through the chaos, calm, human, commanding. "All Terran vessels, engage Battle Line Protocol Theta Prime. Anchor formation around Archon Prime's orbit. Target acquisition, Zelf Capital Swarm." From the bridge of the TFS Resolute, Admiral Marcus Varelian stood before the vast viewing window, hands clasped behind his back. His reflection stared back, a ghost framed by the stars. Execute. The Terran fleet moved as one. No hesitation, no panic. Thousands of ships unfolded from stealth patterns, releasing drones, fighters, and kinetic silos like a rising tide of steel. They didn't scatter, they aligned, forming perfect geometric lines that extended across the sky, glowing faint blue. Then came the hum, a deep, resonant vibration that made every sensor on Archon Prime tremble. Each Terran ship's core pulsed with the rhythm of a heart. One heartbeat, shared across 1,000 vessels. All batteries, fire. The heavens erupted. Blue-white lances of plasma, guided rail slugs, and magnetically accelerated ordnance ripped through space in synchronized waves. The Zelf swarm hit the wall and shattered. Ships disintegrated, their molten remains scattering like embers across the void. The Council fleets watched in stunned silence. The Terrans weren't just fighting. They were conducting war like an orchestra. Every strike, every maneuver calculated to perfection. But the Zelth adapted fast. Massive hive ships surged forward, their hulls absorbing the first wave of fire. They unleashed torrents of living missiles, biological torpedoes that screamed through the vacuum, their trails burning green. Vanguard shields rotate frequency. Drone wings intercept pattern delta. Marcus's commands were calm, deliberate, unyielding. He had fought wars before, but this was humanity's stage, and he meant to make the galaxy remember. As the battle raged, a massive Zelth supercarrier broke through the line, heading straight for Archon Prime. It dwarfed even the largest Terran dreadnought, a moving mountain of flesh and metal, its central maw glowing crimson. The Council forces screamed warnings, but Marcus was already watching it. "Bring the Dauntless forward," he said quietly. From the formation's rear, a colossal Terran warship emerged, its hull blacker than night, engines burning white-hot. Its front array split open, revealing a sphere of contained fusion light. Dauntless, Nova Lance, full power. A beam of pure annihilation tore through space, punching straight through the supercarrier's heart. The explosion that followed lit up the entire hemisphere of Archon Prime. The Council's chamber erupted in gasps and awe. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy realized something terrible and magnificent. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had mastered the art of war. The battle was over. What had once been a burning sky now glowed with the fractured light of debris, the wreckage of the Zelth swarm, scattered across Archon Prime's orbit like drifting ashes. The void was quiet again, save for the steady hum of Terran engines and the faint crackle of dying plasma fires. From the TFS Resolute, Admiral Marcus Varelian stood in silence, watching the last Zelth vessels break apart under orbital decay. His reflection stared back at him in the viewport, calm, stern, yet faintly tired. Humanity had done what the Council could not, saved the very heart of galactic civilization. But he felt no pride, only purpose. "Status of the fleet?" he asked quietly. "Minimal losses," his aide replied. "All enemy vessels destroyed or neutralized. Council fleets are requesting emergency docking rights for repairs." Marcus nodded once. "Granted. Humanity does not abandon allies, even reluctant ones." When he entered the Council chamber again, the atmosphere had changed. Gone were the whispers, the arrogance, the polite disdain that had always accompanied the word human. Now, every delegate stood as he entered, even the Cathar general who had once called him a savage. The Chancellor spoke first, voice heavy with both awe and guilt. "Admiral, on behalf of the Council, don't thank me." Marcus raised a hand. "You didn't call for help because you respected us. You called because you were dying." The Chancellor lowered his gaze, the chamber falling silent again. "You asked where humanity had gone. We were rebuilding, alone. While you traded in peace, we studied war. While you debated law, we learned how to survive extinction. And when you forgot us, he gestured toward the viewport where Terran ships still glimmered among the stars. We built something you couldn't imagine. One of the younger delegates dared to ask, "What will humanity do now?" Marcus looked at them all. The 12 species who had once ruled the Orion Arm, and spoke with quiet finality. "We will not rule you. We don't want your thrones or your power. But this galaxy has grown complacent. You let predators rise while you hid behind words. That ends today." He turned to leave, his cloak brushing the polished floor. "From now on, when a world calls for help, humanity will answer. Not for conquest, but because we remember what it's like to be left alone." As he disappeared into the shimmering light of the hololink, the chamber remained silent. Outside, the Terran fleet began its slow, deliberate withdrawal, leaving behind only one satellite, a beacon, its signal repeating in every known language, "Earth stands watch." And above the cradle of the Council's world, as the stars slowly returned to view, every species in the galaxy understood a truth they would never again forget. Humanity had ignored their summons for centuries, but when they finally came, the stars themselves trembled.